Hello everyone, welcome to my sophomore YouTube video. Last time we covered the best albums of 2021. All factual opinions, may I add. Oh, and how nervous I was, even a mispronunciation of epitome in it. So, after a depressive episode and multiple anxiety attacks over the past month or so, I was finally blessed with inspiration for a new video, Emo Rap. Emo Rap is a subgenre of hip-hop that fuses rap, emo, and other adjacent genres together. Whereas most hip hop usually has a more upbeat and braggadocious tone, emo rap flips it on its head and greets us with themes of depression, drug use, suicide, and other topics of the sort. The genre began to emerge in the mid to late 2010s with origins in cloud rap, trap, emo, and pop punk. The genre reached its commercial apex in 2018 with artists such as the late XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD, reaching record highs for the genre. While this is all fun and games, emo rap has its flaws, just like any other genre. But I think because of the massive presence emo rap has had over hip hop for years up until very recently, it's important to discuss the problematic behavior. Now that I'm done paraphrasing from the Wikipedia page, let's take a look at some of the biggest artists in the genre. Lil Uzi Vert. Personally, one of my favorite artists in the genre, Uzi does make music in other subgenres of hip hop as well that might be more focused on braggadocio, such as mainstream hip hop. But there is no denying he is involved in the emo rap subgenre, with songs like XO Tour Life being a great example of this. His usual style tends to be somewhat derivative of Young Thug, but the beat selection is a little bit different from Thugger. Uzi tends to rap over upbeat hyperpop-esque beats, though sometimes he raps over darker sounding production on the more emo flavored songs. While Uzi is one of my favorite artists from the subgenre, he is no stranger to controversy, with assault allegations between him and his ex-girlfriend, misogynistic lines like on the song Demon High, or homophobic and transphobic lines on the songs Venetia and That's Iraq, which cuts a lot deeper for me as a queer trans woman. To be honest, I was a little reluctant to include him in this video, but I think he does count as an emo rap artist, so I think he can stick around. Lil Tracy and the unfortunately late Lil Peep are two pioneering artists in the genre. They're some of the most praised artists in emo rap, and in the case of Lil Peep, one of the most popular artists in the genre. Lil Peep is sort of the face of the genre as a whole. When people think of the genre, Peep likely comes to mind, and it's no wonder with tons of popular songs like Save That Shit, the posthumously released Falling Down, Gym Class, and many others. Peep's success was sadly ended before he could see the half of it, when he overdosed in late 2017. I ended up putting Tracy and Peep together for this section because I sort of have them linked to each other, as rappers who work together very oftenly, a similar dynamic to XXXTentacion and Scheme as a Slump God. Personally, I'm not too familiar with Lil Peep or Lil Tracy's music, but from what I have heard, I'm not super into either of their sounds. In my opinion, it's a little grating on my ears. That is not to disrespect either of them, however. Even with the unfortunate death of Lil Peep, they have both done massive amounts for the genre. The late XXXTentacion. Though I paired X and Ski as frequent collaborators a few sentences ago, I feel Scheme as a Slump God does not really fall into the emo rap genre, so he won't be included. X's music is quite diverse, to be quite honest, from songs that are more boom bap flavored to some songs like Heart Eater that are much closer to the formula of a rock or pop song. X is most prominently known for his emo style, however, that started to pop up more often with the release of his first studio album, 17. Songs like Jocelyn Flores, Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares, and Fuck Love are all staples in the genre. XXXTentacion is about the most successful artist to ever emerge from the emo rap scene. Unfortunately, he never got to see the fame, as his life was taken early, or he didn't see most of the fame. And while all that fame and success is good, I think it is important to take into account the abuse allegations aimed at X. These aren't concrete claims, but it is definitely something that should be kept in mind. Lil Skies and Trippie Red. These artists seemingly have nothing to do with each other. Uh, the exception of being in the genre, of course. But I just don't have a lot to say about either of them, so I thought I might as well throw them together. I personally quite enjoy Lil Skies, but I'm not super into it or anything. He began to become popular around 2018 or so with the release of his project Life of a Dark Rose. Since then, he has been consistently losing his hype. He released Shelby in 2019, which wasn't a bad project, but by the release of his newest album, he has lost all the hype he once had, and in my opinion, the music is far worse on his newest release. As for Trippie Redd, he has managed to stay consistently more popular, gaining popularity over the past 4 or so years. I think his music is worse than those guys by a long shot, however. He is still very derivative, and his voice is a little bit annoying in my opinion. Suicide Boys. The only other artists I listen to actively in the genre along with Lil Uzi Vert. I feel Scrim and Ruby's style is quite different from what we have looked at so far. It is a much darker sound than that of Trippie Redd or Lil Uzi Vert. The duo from New Orleans have been making music for a little under a decade. The duo have some songs that go much more violent than others, to say the least, and some that focus more on topics such as suicidal ideation and depression. I listened to a select few songs from the duo, but I feel like as time goes on, they are getting worse. I have a hard time listening to anything after the project I Want to Die in New Orleans. Suicide Boys are kind of what I think of when I think of the genre, rather than Lil Peep, who I previously said is the face of the genre. To continue, Bones is like a worse Suicide Boys, that is all he gets, lol. The other most popular artist in the genre, besides Lil Peep and XXXTentacion, that being the late Juice WRLD. He is also incredibly influential inside the genre, though that should come as no surprise seeing as he is one of the most popular artists after all. Juice WRLD's debut studio album, Goodbye and Good Riddance, has so many hits on it, such as the mega hit Lucid Dreams, which has 750 million views on the Lyrical Lemonade video, which skyrocketed him to fame, not to mention nearly 2 billion streams on Spotify. Other popular songs and even staples of the genre from that record are Lean With Me, a song with the previously mentioned Lil Uzi Vert, Wasted, and the hit song similar to Uzi's new single, Demon High, All Girls Are the Same, which unfortunately has hints of misogyny throughout, that being just one example of misogyny in the genre. Iann Industry Plant Dior is another artist in this genre. He makes derivative music that is just bad. To be quite honest, I'm surprised that he has been able to stay popular at all, though that's not saying a whole lot as he's been consistently losing fame, and the fact he got on Double XL is so strange to me. At this point, he is falling off very hard, however. In fact, I completely forgot he existed until I started writing the script. The final artist I would like to cover before we move on to the next segment of this video is Nothing Nowhere. My general consensus on Nothing Nowhere is that his music is kind of boring and maybe even a little bit, dare I say, bad. But what else do you expect from an artist kind of fueled by ramen? Let's be honest. Personally, I am not a massive fan of this subgenre or the artists in it, both because of problematic behavior and the overall sound of the artist or the genre. There are some artists I come back to, but overall I think the genre is a little bit overhyped, and at this point I'm quite happy that the genre as a whole is on its last legs and slowly being pushed out of the mainstream and being replaced with something new and fresh. This genre is full of red flags, and at this point, just like cut off everyone you know who listens to it. Jokes aside, and on to a more pressing matter, the genre has plenty of unfortunate deaths that occur relatively often. As you may have noticed, some of the most popular artists in the subgenre have passed, those being Lil Peep, XXXTentacion, and Juice WRLD. While plenty of artists die in any genre, I find it more so within this subgenre, as young rappers unfortunately pass too soon. Correlation is not causation, but there's always a chance that the glorification of drugs within the genre may be one factor to lead to the death of Lil Peep or Juice WRLD especially, with XXXTentacion being a bit of an outlier. I think this might be another thing we need to try to phase out of the genre. These deaths can't keep happening. We have gone over some of my points while discussing some of these artists, and now it's time for a quick recap. While misogyny and even to some degree homophobia are common in hip hop, I still feel like I need to mention it. In songs like Juice WRLD's All Girls Are the Same, it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable, and the same goes for Lil Uzi Vert on his newest single, Demon High, in which the chorus, similarly to All Girls Are the Same, sings, "These girls, they're all the same." As mentioned before, homophobia and transphobia also have their place in the subgenre, unfortunately, such as two examples from Lil Uzi Vert's songs, That's Iraq and Venetia. To go along with this, there are also allegations of domestic abuse aimed at Lil Uzi Vert and the late XXXTentacion. Keyword, allegations. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. These are not fact, but something to maybe look into. All of these little things make me a little uncomfortable listening to the music, but to each their own, I guess. Emo rap takes some of the worst and most toxic traits from hip hop, such as the ones just mentioned, and blends them into a nightmare smoothie of self harm and suicide, often positioning these as the answer to issues such as drug addiction or your goth GF leaving you. In conclusion, emo rap is one of the most popular genres in music, and we should do our best to keep the environment safe for everyone involved. We can't allow abuse, misogyny, or homophobia mixed with the self harm and suicide to stick around in one of the most influential genres of our time, to protect the lives of these young rappers and the fans of them. On a lighter note, okay, besties, that was my semi detailed look into the subgenre of hip hop, emo rap. I hope you enjoyed the video, like if you liked it, and leave a comment below unless you're a cringe baby with bad opinions. You can turn off the video now, by the way.